So I'm down here by Tao nightclub, and then here's the South Park. And do you know nightclubs can add Spot Hero to them? And through Spot Hero, now nightclubs can work like movie theaters, and you book a ticket. So you want to go to a certain nightclub, you book a ticket. Like any event you're going to, if you're going to a nightclub like Soundbar, you would purchase a ticket online, and with that, you can reserve a parking space at here, South Park, or you can reserve one with the valet, truly Spot Hero Valet, and you can reserve it with the valet as well. You buy a ticket to Soundbar, and then you reserve with the valet at the same time. You purchase the valet service through Spot Hero. Or if you're going to South Park, it takes it here, and then you just open up the app when you're going with the ticket. The ticket opens up, and you just press parking, the word parking, and it brings up Google GPS or Waze, and it navigates you right to the parking spot. And if you have a motorcycle or a scooter, how about valets for motorcycles and scooters? Now they would have to have a motorcycle license. Truly, I drove a scooter in Arizona, and I had to get a motorcycle license to drive a scooter. So I had to be fully licensed to drive a regular motorcycle to drive a scooter. So valets can park motorcycles. They can park scooters too. And I don't know why Chicago doesn't have more scooters. Rocky, who I was a friend with, and she was a colleague and so on, she used to drive a scooter around Chicago. This is back in 2006, but she had a scooter, and she used to drive around on a scooter. I don't know why Chicago doesn't have more scooters. And so I like driving my scooter in Arizona. It was very convenient. And in Europe, they drive a lot of scooters. And I don't understand why they're not. Now you have the electrical bikes, I guess now. But scooters go faster than electrical bikes. And the nice thing about scooters, excuse me, nice thing about scooters is your legs go on the inside. Motorcycles, when you get side impacted and T-boned, see, the thing that saved me when I got T-boned is I was on a scooter. In a scooter, your feet go in front of the seat, and so not on the sides. When you get T-boned on a motorcycle, your leg gets T-boned first, and it gets crushed. And so that's what happens with motorcycles, because your legs are on the outside of the engine, outside of the bike. The first thing that gets hit is your leg. Now, what can you do about this? Well, one thing is put a metal brace on the side like they use in football that has a, joint at the knee level, and basically it helps protect from side impact. So they could put some protection in biker pants. It's an exoskeleton, but again, it would help protect from side impact. They're very exposed to side impact on a motorcycle. So, anyways, you can set this up here, and you set it up with Spot Hero on that, and then people going, it's an event going to a nightclub. Unlike a pub you can do open table in that, and if they want to charge a fee, they can charge it on open table. You can get your ticket through open table too if they want to use that. But there's Evite that can have tickets and everything. It's just not invitations you're sending out to people. People can go in and buy tickets for events. So Evite should list out tickets available for events. Like if you're a club promoter, you say go to my Evite site and buy the ticket. Like my friend Tony, he was a club promoter. And then, what's the two names? Two guys were, and then there was two females. They were club promoters too. I haven't talked to any of these people in the longest time. But anyways, they have an Evite site, and you go to that. So if you don't have a ticket, you can go purchase one. Other people, they can send out the Evite too. So it makes it cool. Buy a ticket to my upcoming night at Soundbar featuring DJ Spin from B96. I don't know. I like him. He was good to me when I was at the Dome Room where Excalibur was, now is Tao. And he was always nice to me. And then my other girl, she works for the Chicago Tribune. She's an executive assistant for the CEO or president of the Tribune. Anyways, she used to work for B96. And then my friend from the University of Arizona, Scott Silverman, he used to work for B96. So a lot of them used to work for B96. So, and they didn't know that I knew them independently of each other, but they all came from B96. So, and they can promote on B96 at Soundbar, truly. And they could stream through B96 at Soundbar. So, right from Soundbar, B96, the DJ live, and it's a cross-promote, Soundbar and B96 syncing up together. And DJ spinning at Soundbar, and also on the radio. He can talk in that and, do stuff. So he can bring people up from the club in that to step up and side notes and do other things and mixes. But again, he can do it right from the nightclub. There's another girl that's on my Facebook, and she's cute. She's a DJ. And so she could hook up with a radio station. I'm looking at Q101.9. You can have a DJ at Y-Bar. That's more Q101.9 type music, Y-Bar. Soundbar is a dance club. Y-Bar is a lounge that you can dance a little bit, but it's a lounge. It's more sit-down, conversational. You don't want extremely loud music because the essence of it is to have some nice company, nice beverages, some snacks, and, interact with people while you're sitting down mostly. That's a lounge, sitting down, lounging. Where Soundbar, the majority of the interaction is around the dance floor. Yes, they have tables and so on, but again, it's more of a dance club. And so you'd have different music, but again, they can spin there at Y-Bar. And so, again, it's a way to cross-promote. And they get to get out and connect with people. And they can give a little, Y-Bar, Q101.9 keychains, tchotchkes and that for showing up that night. And so, again, it's kind of cool. And it's a great way to cross-promote the clubs and cross-promote the music stations. And then hip-hop. I don't know if we have a hip-hop bar in Chicago, but they can form a hip-hop bar. We have a blues bars, and we have jazz bars, but I don't know what stations play jazz or blues, but they can cross-promote at the clubs. ESPN used to do Dickas, and before that, ESPN used to be in the ESPN zone with Tom Waddle and that cross-promoting ESPN 1000. So they had the show from the ESPN zone. I like the ESPN zone. And one of my friends from Dave & Buster's, He moved over there and worked for the ESPN Zone. And I went in to see him, and that's the first time I saw the ESPN Zone. So, again, they can do all this, and it's a way to cross-promote radio stations with it. In talk radio, Rokan used to do remotes and that, and you can find places that are good for talk radio, where you would go to, these different locations that people want to have more of a conversational talk. They don't want the, music and everything. It's a different environment, so it's a different type of promotion. But the nightclubs and that, jazz clubs and that, they can promote. You can get a hip-hop at that, and it's these different radio stations like The Mix. It's a great way to cross-promote, and their DJs can be in the clubs, and their DJs can also do parties. You can have a DJ from The Mix be at a party. You're throwing a private party, and you hire the DJ for the private party, and the DJs from The Mix. So they can do parties and that. And so it's another way to create revenue for the station, another way to create more revenue for the DJs. So they can really get out of the studio and that, and it's nice. They get an inside and outside mix. Sometimes in the studio, sometimes not. The engineers need to be at the remote, but also in the studio too. And just in case, because the feed goes back through the studio. But it's a good way to team up and become partners. And if they open that place across from Soundbar, I don't know why Mark and them wouldn't buy the place across the street. So they own 3 clubs on one side, and I forget what the other one's called. But they could purchase the place across the street, and they would own 4 clubs right there. And it would make sense for them to own all 4 of them. So for them to buy the place across the street. I'll go around and show you. But again, these are opportunities. And again, trying to make a better city, but it seems like everybody wants to make this hell on earth. I don't know why. Everybody's selling security systems, and that's all it's about. Not about enjoying life and everything else. It's just one big security sales, because it seems like they set up everything to be a nightmare. So I don't understand. But I'm going to go around here. I'll go this way. And you can spin also. They can have the mix night at the casino. I'll go up a little bit farther. But they can have it at Bally's. It's another way to basically put the casino up here. And so there's Holy Name. And so they have TV, and they do it on WGN. It cross-promotes the church, and it also promotes WGN. But why wouldn't WGN do a remote from Holy Name? Like, truly, their anchors show up at Holy Name. Why wouldn't they do that? Like, there is Morgan reading from something. She doesn't have to attend a church, but every so often somebody from WGN's there and does the reading, and they do different readings from the gospel, and it is Lauren Jiggets doing the reading from John or some from Psalms, and Lauren Jiggets from WGN, and it's on WGN, so you cross-promote WGN by having them show up, and it's promoting Holy Name, and so it's a good correlation, and it's a remote. So getting 2 birds with 1 stone. So not putting them under, but making them greater. So it's not killing them. You're actually promoting them. And here's Belly's. And so it can do things, like I said, every so they can cross promote. They can have the piano players come over from the Redhead and play in the piano bar. There's Vaughn's that's in Glenview that I like. Vaughn's, you go in and they have a live piano player. Do you know Hugo's used to? And you go in and Hugo's next to Gibson's had a live piano player. So do Gibson's. And in the lounge area, they have piano and you can request music in that. And so the Redhead is a piano. It's a solo piano, but what you can do is take out the piano and have 2 keyboards. And then you can get dueling keyboards in the Redhead. You don't have enough for dueling pianos. Remove the piano and do keyboards and have dueling keyboards. Truly. And then some nights bring the piano back and you have the solo pianist. But in other nights you can have dueling keyboards. Or you can have a piano and the keyboard at the Redhead. A duel between the piano and the keyboardist. Coldplay plays a keyboard, not the piano. Elton John plays the piano. Billy Joe plays the piano. Stevie Wonder played the piano. Ray Charles played the piano. So Coldplay, he does the keyboard. But he doesn't do any keyboard commercials. It'd be natural for Coldplay to do Yamaha keyboard commercials, right? Here's Town Nightclub that I was talking about. And it's an Asian restaurant and nightclub. So the nightclub, I would assume, has an Asian theme, right? You'd imagine Chicago Chop House. In New York, there's like a steakhouse on every corner in Manhattan. We don't have as many steakhouses here. But in New York, they're all over the place. Truly, I couldn't believe how many steakhouses in Manhattan. It might have the most steakhouses of anywhere in the United States for a area. I'm talking about the borough of Manhattan, not the whole city of New York. And I'm not talking about the state of New York. Yes, the city and state are the same thing. New York, city and state. So when you say New York, you got to clarify. Are you talking about the city or are you talking about the state? Most people assume when you say New York, you mean the city. But you need to clarify. Because they're both New York. So coming over here, there's the second place across the street. There used to be 5 clubs. See this end building here? This used to be a bottle service lounge as well. This was a lounge. And there was a lounge across the street, Y-Bar. Now there's Electric House. I don't know how that differs from Sound Bar and Y-Bar. Y-Bar is a lounge. Sound Bar is a dance bar. I don't know what exactly Electric House is. I mean, what's its differentiation between these two? Is it a blend of a lounge and dance club? It could be. I mean, Y-Bar upstairs is the dance club. Downstairs is more of a lounge. So it's kind of a hybrid on 2 floors. Is that a hybrid on 1 floor? It could be different. And so you're blending a lounge and a dance club on 1 floor. So people see each other from the lounge area and the dance club. So anyways, you got this area. And so that other place, and I'll turn around and show you again. But again, they can blend this in. And this place over here was all built out to become a adult entertainment club. But they couldn't get the license. Maggie Daley blocked it, told her husband to stop it. So this became something else now on the corner here. But this originally was built out to be an adult entertainment club. And they never got approved. So it went to something else. I don't know what it is now. And then here's another place that closed down. So, but this whole area, greens I like. But then this used to be a club here too. But the longest anchor tenant here is actually Spy Bar on the other side. And Spy Bar is not a dance club. It's a lounge, but it's a standing, where Y Bar you get seats and tables. Sound Bar, or Spy Bar is the oldest one here. And my friend Michael was the one who created it. I haven't talked to him in a long time. And then my friend Chris bought it from him. And so they're the oldest two residents. And this is the other place that can be bought right here on the corner. So there's an opportunity to build out the neighborhood. And you can have an investment club. Truly. You pull in and then you build out and you own several establishments. It's kind of like they do in Disney World, right? They built out under one umbrella, a holding company, and you build out the area. So Disney is the holding company and has the different theme parks. Same thing. And so you're building out a nightclub entertainment area. And then they have Champion here. And then up the street here used to be, and this is the problem, where Soundbar and them are in a very good place because it's not on top of residential. Well, my friend Avi used to have a place over here, and you get more residential around here. And he used to get a lot of noise complaints from the residents here at River North, because really this is part of River North, and so they used to get a lot of noise complaints. So if you're taking this, you go from that district and you come up here, and you don't turn down Illinois. There's some restaurants down there, but you come up here and you turn down Hubbard. Now, this is a way to link these two areas with a trolley. Oh yeah, they can work together and have their own trolley that goes up Hubbard Street, back down Hubbard, and then goes over to Sound Bar, Spy Bar, the other ones, and then comes back up to Hubbard. And it just links these two areas. That's it. Nowhere else, not Division. And it links these two areas. They're right next to each other. Division's further down. And if you want, you can link in the three areas on an entertainment trolley. And it could connect all three areas. Now, you say Uber and Lyft and so on and so forth. Well, you're not really taking away, because people are going to go further than, those are mega short hops. Going from here right over the Sound Bar, that's only a few blocks. And then pick up and come right back over here. You're talking tons of traffic and everything else. Not good for ride service. Lots of stop and go. They want longer trips. So, no, I disagree that it would hurt the rideshare business. I get complaints like when I got on at O'Hare Airport and they're waiting there. Now, they let them come back in line for shorter trips at O'Hare, but I would take it over the Rosemont, and they'd be like, oh, I've been waiting here for, and you're just going to Rosemont? They wanted Chicago or North Shore. And they're like, that's where I need to go, dude. That's the risk of being in line. But at O'Hare, if you're taking something to Rosemont or something close, you get to cut in front of the line. So they give you a thing. If your fare says they're going to Rosemont, then they give you a ticket and you get placed ahead in the line. So That's so people that get short hop fares don't get cheated out of money for waiting a long time. Because to justify waiting a long time at the airport, you need a fare that's a considerable distance. If not, you're waiting on a line for a long time and it's a waste. But what they could do better, and they don't, time it with the flights. And if they tell they can't line up until the flights are coming. And they know when the flight's an hour out or so, and they say, okay, start forming, we need so many cars. And they can tell you, this plane, they know how many passengers are on it. And then the passengers are required to tell them before they get on, are they going to take a ride share or not? Oh, yeah. They require the passengers to disclose for airport efficiency whether they're going to take a ride share or not. And so they know exactly how many passengers getting on the plane are getting picked up by somebody else. Truly, how many people are going to have somebody pick them up to how many people are going to get on ride shares. So they know what type of traffic is going to enter the airport. So you have to say, how are you going from the airport? And so they know you don't have to book a specific right away, but you can book it in advance if you want. Truly, you can book it on Uber, and it goes through the Uber system into a holding system. And then when it assigns the ride share, when the plane hits the ground. And so when you get out, your Uber's waiting for you. But they need to know how many people are taking it. And if you pre-book an Uber or Lyft or a Curb, which is a pre-booking taxi, or a limo or a black car, you can do all that. But I'll go further up. They need to figure out what's going on with this street. Are they going to upgrade it, or are they going to let it deteriorate and downgrade it? Truly, which direction is it going? So, Howl at the Moon, Dueling Piano Bar. And Robo used to work there, who used to be one of our piano players and DJs. How many piano players are also DJs? Robo was our DJ and our piano player. And let's go down this way. But so piano players can also be DJs. And DJs like at B96 and that can be piano players or keyboardists. And so they can also play. Robo played at Howling at the Moon, but he's also a DJ. He was one of our resident DJs. Two of our DJs played in the piano bar and spun in the nightclub. So when they weren't working in the piano bar, and Rick ran the piano guys, when they weren't on schedule for the piano bar, they would be DJing in the nightclub. So we had two guys float back and forth between the piano and the nightclub DJ. So he was always busy because he could work as the nightclub DJ or the piano bar. So you can be a keyboardist and work in the nightclub, or you can be part of a band like Johnny and the Leisure Suits. When you're not on air, you're out playing gigs, and they promoted the Loop. The Loop was very popular because of Johnny and the Leisure Suits, because everything went through the Loop, and it promoted the Loop, the radio station in Chicago, the band. The band and the radio station were synonymous. So how many radio stations have their own band? Well, the Loop in Chicago had their own official band, the Leisure Suits. And they would go out and play gigs and promote the radio station. They had their own. So if you have a DJ on a hip-hop station, he's also a DJ at a nightclub, right? And so he's promoting the radio station. And they get paid through the radio station. The radio station negotiates with the nightclub and that. The radio station's the booking agent. They do the marketing and promoting on their radio station and that, like Johnny used to do on the Loop. He used to promote everything on the radio station for all the upcoming gigs. And you would buy tickets and so on to see Johnny in the Leisure Suits. And they were really good. I used to listen to them. I never went to any of the events I wanted to. I was a big fan of Jonathan Brandmeier. Now, the thing he lost is he tried to do this sports concept that was kind of rock and sports. And the concept didn't really go well. But he was trying to tap into a younger audience, trying to blend in, some hip music, rock music. And he tried it. It was an experiment, and it didn't work so well. I guess it could be tweaked and done right and integrated, but people don't know him as a sports commentator. He's a comedian and a DJ and a singer. I don't know if he played a guitar or not, but he was a singer. He sang, and he's a comedian because his show is a comic show. So he's a DJ comedian. He should have did stand-up comedy. Truly, he could have done stand-up comedy and not the sports. But the whole point is, then he moved to Los Angeles, and he was on the Loop here for a while, but then people found out he wasn't in Chicago anymore, and they stopped listening. Truly. They found out that he was doing it remote and wasn't in Chicago, and people turned off. They listen to a local station, they want a local person. If you want somebody out of town, you listen to iHeart, right? But it busted. They wanted somebody local, and the reason it busted is because it was sold as a local DJ. That Johnny Brandmeier doing the show, the Loop here in Chicago, well, he did it remotely from his house in Los Angeles. And he didn't say that, and the show never said that, and then it got out. He was doing it remotely from his house in Los Angeles, and people immediately, the show busted, and they had to let him go. They canceled it and brought somebody in. It was local. They want to see him around town. What do you think the biggest thing for ABC and your stations are? That these people get out and around town, like DJ Spin. He spins there, he hangs out in the clubs, and he builds an incredibly local talent. If you want to go national, that's a whole different thing. So do you want to be the 10,000-pound gorilla in the local audience? Or do you want to get a little bit in each market, and that's when you go national? And if you want to get smaller, you might have a bigger following, but it's spread out all over the place, then go international. But for Diane Burton, for Cheryl Burton and all them, and like Cheryl Scott, it's the local market, and they want to dominate the local market. Or Tracy Butler, the weather, want to dominate the local market. And they used to get out and go to like Ron Majors. He was very popular, and he was also on Ro Khan's show. And he used to get out about town. He'd go to the restaurants, and he'd go to events, and you see Ron Majors here and Ron Majors there. And he was the 10,000-pound gorilla in the Chicago market. So the whole point is, are you going to be the big guy in the local market? If you go national, you're not going to be that big of a presence in the local market. Ask how many people go around and ask, do you know who's on Good Morning America in Chicago? And I guarantee you not many people know. They do have a segment of the market, but it's very small. So when they turn away from the local station and go to the national station, they lose. They gain on a national basis a little bit from everything, and that makes their show. But the local market share goes down significantly. Where WGN and its leverage is, and Fox's, it stays local. And so if you want things around town, Annabella and that, you watch the show, and their leverage over Good Morning America is they stay local. And they're the 10,000-pound gorilla in the local markets. And so if you're advertising and want to go deeper into Chicago, you advertise on Fox Morning or WGN Morning. I don't know about WTTW. They run cartoons, and so they're the 10,000-pound gorilla during the weekday, truly, on non-paid TV. On non-paid TV, they're the 10,000-pound gorilla. So, again, on non-paid TV. Here's a jerk-off right here. See how they did the cameras and the video? So I'll post, but this guy's a jerk. Come flying up on me with his SUV. Hey! So there's his face. He's a jerk-off. So, truly, if there's a second lane, he could have went around. It was open. He chose to fly up on me on my rear end of my car. That's threatening. And then they don't have a good reputation as looking Arab or blowing up the buildings and everything else. You think he would be a safer driver because white people, you've terrorized, cut off their heads and everything else. So you think you would walk softly. And the ones that don't, well, they're asking to get their ass kicked, right? That's what they do to white people. So isn't it reciprocity that they deserve to get their ass handed to them? They handed our ass to us. So you think they would walk more gingerly? Truly, more gingerly. It's called respect. And that's a lack of respect. I go into Africa, I don't defecate outside. I go to the bathrooms. No. I go to the washrooms. I respect their country. I go to Cancun. I go to the Netherlands. I go to these places internationally, and I respect their earth. I respect their country. I follow their laws to a T. I do nothing to disrespect them. But they do. Here's another jerk off. And these people, I hope they burn in hell. I do. Another disrespectful piece of garbage. But the thing is, you censor my fucking videos, right? I want to be known for what I say, good or bad. I don't give a shit how you take it. But you would think they would understand. Like Sam, he was Palestinian. He understood with everything with Israel and Palestine and Hamas and everything going on and his country getting torn apart. He understood people disrespecting his country, that they weren't from the Hamas and that. They weren't from Palestine, mainly out of Palestine, truly. And they were disrespecting their country and causing Israel to fight them. And the Palestinians, the locals, really weren't part of Hamas. Not as much. And we used to talk about it. So you get people coming in and they take a dump on your place. Do you respect them for taking a dump all over your place? Or do you punish them for taking a dump all over your place? You punish them. I mean, I watched Americans get executed in Thailand for transporting drugs. It's the death penalty in Thailand. They were white. They got executed. And they did. And watch in Turkey, he got caught and put in prison and then got raped and everything else in the Turkish prison, Midnight Express. True story. But these people that disrespected their country, how about the American that went to North Korea? The white guy, he stole the poster of Kim Jong-un. They took him and did something to him while they held him, and he died when they released him. He died. They basically put him to death for disrespecting their country. So I don't get it. All over the world, Americans get put to death or killed for disrespecting their countries. Nick Berg get his head chopped off. Right? He was there not disrespecting, helping do all these things, but still got killed. I'll give you missionaries. I'll give you all this. And somehow they come and disrespect the country, and then you give them all kinds of protection. Racism, hate crimes. They're doing the hate crime. They're doing the disrespect. We bring in, like, black people. You bring them into America through slavery, and what have they done? Consistently disrespected the country. And then again, you go and protect them and give them civil rights and voting and everything else. I would have said, stop your crimes, respect the country, and earn it. So it's just like sanctuary cities with the Hispanics. They come in, they bring in the cartels, they smuggle drugs, they do all kinds of illegal activities. They killed, I don't know how many Americans. It is astronomical how many Americans they killed. And they come in and they dump all over the country. And then you give them all kinds of protection. I mean, that's insane. Why would you do that? And what happened when you did that? Sanctuary cities and that. What happened? More Americans got killed and slaughtered. What happened when you give the people who disrespect this country protection? You got the Trade Center, you got terrorist bombings, California, New York, even afterwards, numerous there, other places in the country, numerous attempts here to blow up the Sears Tower, the blow up, and those are all foreigners, right? And you gave them all kinds of civil rights, all kinds of protections. And what did we get for it? Lots of people getting killed. Unbelievable. How about the opium trade that comes out of the Middle East that funneled in through Europe? Giving them all kinds of protections. So I don't know. It's pretty much done us an incredible amount of wrong. So how many people, add up how many people they've killed in this country? Killed. Go ahead, look at the murder rates. And add them up. I look at the coroner reports and everything. Break it down on perpetrators and where the perpetrators are from. Truly, since this guy wants to do it on my film, he wants to terrorize me. Well, let's get the numbers. I've been piling up the numbers. When you disrespect me, I'm going to destroy you. And there should be ramifications to him and his people. I mean, severe ramifications. But again, you don't do nothing. And then you allow them to continue on defecating all over the place. How is that right? I'm out here promoting them to live the right share and trying to make things better, and all of a sudden, the piece of garbage is making my life horrible. And I mean piece of garbage. And I got to deal with you giving them all kinds of protections. How is that human rights? That's human atrocity. So let's add up the atrocities. Why aren't we suing their countries? Truly, I want the money back from Saudi Arabia for 9/11. He was a Saudi Arabian citizen. I'll go into bin Laden. He never denounced his Saudi Arabian citizenship. So that means he was a responsibility of the Saudi Arabian government. I want the money, all the wrongful death. I want the insurance companies to sue him, the property companies. I want all the money back for 9/11 from Saudi Arabia. Every freaking penny. He's a Saudi Arabian citizen. He's their responsibility. They're garbage. So if your people do it here, sue India, sue Pakistan. Truly. But if you give them American citizenship, then you can't sue Mexico for their cartel members. But if they're Mexican citizens still, and they're doing illegal drugs, guess what? You get to sue Mexico for every single Mexican mafia, every single gang. You can sue El Salvador for MS-13 and all the wrongful deaths. But when you make them an American citizen, well, then they're our problem. So that's what I told you. So if you want to turn it over and us to be responsible and they go do something outside of this country, they're our responsibility. But if they come here or they do anything overseas, it's not our responsibility. But if they come here and do something, we can sue the shit out of their country. Truly. So, I don't know. Take it to them. But no, you're going to cry for them and feel sorry for them. They got to control their own animals. They got to be held responsible. That's what we did in Libya. And Gaddafi had to pay for the flight and all the wrongful deaths and everything else. Holding them responsible. Sue the NAACP for black people that act out. Sue the Urban League for black people that act out. Truly. Sue them. Sue the shit out of the NAACP. Sue the shit out of them. They say they're responsible for colored people. Well, since you say you're responsible, I'm going to sue you for all their wrongs. I'm going to bankrupt your organization. I'm going to sue all the black churches. These are people that say they're responsible for their people. So I get a class action lawsuit against all the find out where these animals went to church, and I would sue all the churches for some form of breach of ethics. I would sue the NAACP. I would sue the black colleges. I would be going to town on them. Since they don't want to take care of their animals, then I would destroy them. So either you're going to take care of your animals or you should be put to waste. You keep on throwing your animals on me. Take care of your animals. And if you have to put them down, euthanize them the way they should be. So, security, how does the security at the restaurant do me any good on the street or anywhere else? It doesn't. And then I get harassed in the restaurants. So, what has security done for me but make my life miserable here? Like at the White Palace, I go and buy things, I'm good, sitting down, I'm respectful to that place all the time, and the security guard forces me off the seat and forces me out. I just purchased $20 in food. I was finishing up a post. I was waiting for the food. I just got the food, and I was about to leave, and he comes up and you to get out of here. I haven't been back. But what do you mean? I was waiting for food. I got it. Let me press send, and I'm gone. But you don't punish these animals, and you let them off, and then you make them America's responsibility. Where if they do anything wrong here, we get to sue the crap out of them. Why make them citizens? Truly. Do you want to be their keeper and their responsibility? The responsible for them? We have enough internal garbage. So, again, why do you want to take responsibility for them? Let their own countries take responsibility for them. And when they screw up, their own countries should be punished. And they should be great shame to their countries. And then when they go back, their countries will deal with them accordingly, right? Making great shame for them on an international basis. So again, we send them back to their country to be dealt with. They kicked out U.S. diplomats out of embassies around the world. Truly, I gave you those when we've had diplomats kicked out of countries. Just like them, kicking them out of the country. Let them get back home and our embassies work with them to prosecute them. Since they want to disrespect, right? So I drive around here in peace, and you drive around terrorizing me. You don't come in peace. You come to terrorize me. Every time I come down here, all you do is terrorize me. It's the face of terrorism. So my post, I don't want to go that way, but you seem to want to push it that way. And I've been doing my research forever. So I know where all the bodies are buried. So if you keep on pushing the buttons, I'll keep on tearing you down. I tried to go the way of peace and tranquility and turn the other cheek. But if you attack me, I'm your worst nightmare. I don't care if you're Hindu or Buddhist or anything. I'll destroy you. And let's get in. I don't even want to get into Hinduism. But again, I come in peace and get along and try to work together. But if you're going to threaten me, then I need to destroy you. I don't take well to threats. You threaten me, not me threatening you. Here, let me go this way. Now he's going this way. He was going this way, now he's going this way. Another foreigner, right? Let me move over here. There he goes. As you can see, not from here. Because the only people that were here beginning were Native Americans and whites. That's the origin of this country. Native Americans and whites. They weren't here. So, again, they keep on playing this game as they deserve some special treatment. And you keep on giving them special treatment. And they keep on ruining this country. So I don't get it. I'm not in for their market. I tried to bring things up, but they're pieces of garbage. I don't care. And if you stand by your garbage, your India is garbage then. So you're showing your ass here, and your people are showing how garbage they are. So you're garbage. Just like you did with the Aryan Nation, the skinheads, the neo-Nazis and that. You said they were white trash and garbage. And we took care of our garbage. We did. We took them out. We took out the Hells Angels. We took out all the white gangs. Oh, that's what we focused on first. And we destroyed them. We destroyed the Italian mafia, the Russian mafia, all of that. Wiped out. All the white garbage wiped out. Truly, wiped out. Whatever they needed to do, they did. And lots of white, watch Donnie Brasco. Lots of white people went undercover and destroyed them. So, I don't see them taking out their own trash in the black community. Truly. I watch them allow and the gangs to grow, and all these. It's decades. We're 2025. We became the murder capital of the United States in 2016. Who created this? Black people. Who created the murder capital for when Gary became? Black people. Who created the murder capital when D.C. was the murder capital? Black people. So I don't get it. So we focused on destroying all these illegal white organizations. Destroying Bernie Madoff. He's a white guy. No, he's Jewish, but it doesn't matter. He's a white guy. Took him out. Took out the corrupt piece of garbage. What are they doing to take out their trash? Like my friend Simon. He's Asian, but an Indian girl in the wheelchair. An Indian girl in the wheelchair. Embezzled. She got busted. I watched the news. She used the sympathy of being in a wheelchair. She stole all kinds of money from him. She was Indian. She was Western Asian. He's Eastern Asian. He's from Korea. Is that Southeast or yeah, Southeast, I think. But either way, Eastern part of it. Not Western like India. And she used her disability to what? Milk the hell out of them. This is what I see around Chicago with the bums. Using their downturn to milk people. Not looking to overcome their challenge. Looking to milk people. Milk them. Just like she did. It was all fraudulent. He wouldn't invest with me. I asked. He said, no, I gave my money and I emptied out my 403B and all that. And I gave it to this Indian girl who I met on this trip. And she has this great hedge fund. And the one thing about hedge funds, since they're unregulated, they're great places for fraudsters. Like Bernie Madoff, he had a hedge fund. Oh yeah, Bernie Madoff was a hedge fund, $50 billion hedge fund. Since they're unregulated, they don't know what they're holding. They don't look at their holdings like there's no reporting or transparency. And so that's how Bernie Madoff got away with what he did. He was a hedge fund, just like she did. She was a hedge fund. And so, no way to see what's going on. They don't file annual disclosures and all that, like mutual funds, EFTs, index funds. And that's the benefit of them. You get disclosures. They're not going to milk you of your money. You're not going to get fraud. Hedge funds are very opaque. And they cause some serious problems. And that's why people that scam people like hedge funds. Because of their opaqueness. And they can hide things. And that creates a serious problem for funding terrorism, for funding criminal organizations. No, they all love it. Anyone doing anything wrong. Hedge funds fund a lot of bad things. So, again, I don't understand. I come in peace, and they sit around and figure out how to terrorize me. And then you give these pieces of garbage every protection in the book. Every kind of protection. Like this black guy jaywalking. In Japan, he'd be in jail for 3 months. 3 months. And, oh yeah, to discourage him, they should do Singapore and beat him. They don't want him coming back. Cross at the light. But I guess if I'm a white guy and hit him, he'll not only claim that, I hit him wrong and unjustifiably, but he'll claim that it's a discrimination. That's what they do. They look for the free money. And so he's going to claim that it was a racial attack. That it was racially motivated. So when they cross and you hit these people, and I want white people suing them the same way. It's a two-way street. So when they hit him with a car, and they're an Indian, I want to sue them for racism. So when you go to their restaurant and they treat you wrong, sue them for a hate crime. Truly, what comes around goes around. Just because they didn't doesn't mean they can't. Unlike the Asian pastor said that it's untrue. So if you want to play that, it's a two-way street. And so they can sue for, white people can sue for hate crimes and racism. So when you go to an Asian restaurant and they mistreat you, you can sue them for a hate crime and racism. Because obviously it must be because you're white. And that's what Black Lives Matter shows. When the sniper on the roof who was black, he shot the police officers that were white, protecting the parade. Hate crime, racism, right? So again, it works the same way. It's a double-edged sword. The Bible tells you to be very careful what you ask for. When you open the can of worms, you don't only open it for yourself, you open it for everybody else. And it can bite you right back. So you better be very careful, as it says. But you're just too dumb. And so all the white people protecting them are sellouts. You know what they did to the people that protected the Nazis, the French resistance? When the war ended, they took them and lined them up and shot and killed them all. The French resistance, all those that stood against the government, they lined them all up and executed them all after the end of World War II. Not only in France, but all over Europe. Traitors. So, I guess they should just line up the white people and execute them as traitors. So, again, I don't understand how they get away with this. So, your tattoo people, like the guy at Potbelly's, disrespecting me this evening. And then the Asian guy at the counter, disrespecting me at Potbelly's, screwing up my stuff, disrespecting me. So the tattoo, ear piercing, you name it, disrespecting me. I come in peace. They keep on screwing up my stuff. They come in terrorism. Like the robbing people and everything else down here. It was all done by black people. You want me to go around all the crimes and that they done? We're at Baja. Do you know all the criminals? I didn't set them up when I was at Baja. And I passed our porters that were black. They were stealing the purses from the guests. Then we had black people coming in. They stole all the purses. And one of them had a gun. And I took him down. And he was a security. They were all black. Every single one of them. I didn't pick it out that way. But every single one of them. So I'll go into all the clubs. And you want to talk about the drug dealers and that? The Tony the black guy? You want me to Jen, wherever Jenny is, her boyfriend, Hispanic, big time drug dealer. Nope. So again, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the phone. So if you want to go in it, I know exactly who was dealing what in the clubs. And so if you want to go down to this, who was selling the heroin, who was selling what, I can let it all. And people are not going to be happy because they're going to look like pieces of garbage like they are. But since you want it, you get it. That's what God asks. What you reap is what you sow. So you terrorize me, well, then I need to attack you. And I hope somebody listens. And if they are listening, they go out and destroy you. You should be destroyed. Not glorified like you've been doing all over the place. I listen on the news. Glorify this, glorify that, glorify that, glorify that. And I'm like, wow. So many people deserve glory. And I don't see it. So all these places I worked, in the club industry, in financial services, none of them were doing what I was doing. Zero. Nada. We had one guy who worked for Highland Park. He was a financial advisor. He worked with I Have a Dream. So did I. But I was doing 20 other things as well. He did one thing. No one even comes close. So it's a joke. You ask for it, you should receive it. Total disrespect. You should be treated like the garbage you are. Truly, what do you think we have prisons for? To treat them like they're angels or to treat them like garbage? The whole point is to treat them like garbage and break them. But you go and glorify them. Why would you do that? Why would you treat them as angels when they're devils, when they're demons? Why would you go and glorify them? I mean, it's ridiculous. And yes, and selling the drugs in the nightclubs, lots of Jewish kids were moving the cocaine. Not as many. Lots of Jewish kids were moving the cocaine in the nightclubs. So, again, since we bring these things up, who's doing what? But I don't get it. Very peaceful until the car wanted to fly up at me and terrorize me. I mean, the Arab guy on the expressway, I'm doing 60-something. He comes flying up at 80 to 90 miles an hour, almost slamming into my back end. An Arab guy. I can see his face clear as day in the rearview mirror. I got to hit the gas and speed up. But it's just unbelievable. And then why don't you send them back to their country? Because these things are death penalties in their country. Unlike here, you get a few years in jail in their country, you send them back and try them in their country, they put them to death. So send them back home and prosecute them back there. And they'll put them to death. You don't have to. They'll be happy to. Following their laws. They broke them. So send the Ghanaians back to Ghana. They'd be happy to take care of them. I have a lot of friends in Nigeria, Kenya, and that. They'd be happy to put them down. So just send them back home. Since they say they don't want to be here, they're African Americans, not American Africans. So let's find out through their DNA and send them back to those countries. They claim citizenship of that country, right? They don't want to be here. That's what I've heard, right? I'm an African American. Okay, well then go back to Africa. Truly, that's what you're declaring. And then we'll go under their penalty for your DNA from that country. And a lot of those countries have the death penalty for lots of things. Yeah, most of the answers to prison is death. They don't really put you in prison. Like the Zulus. They don't take prisoners. They just put everybody to death. So, they say they're not Americans, they're Africans. Well then, let go back and let them take care of you like they should be. That's the point of the CIA black sites, bringing them back to their country and let their people go to town. We don't do it. Their people do it. We don't torture them. Their people have rules, and we go by their laws. And that's the whole point of the black sites, to bring them to these areas and let their own people deal with them. And they bring in their people, and they torture them, and then they kill them. So send them back. That's where they say they're from, and they want to be. So leave. I've told Colston that and everything. So you have to make a choice. And when that line's crossed, what side of the line are you on? And that's the whole thing about heaven. God wants to know, what side of the line are you on? There's no gray. You're either in or you're out. There's no in between. People here want to play both sides, like the guy from Facebook. He's an American until he gets rich, and then denounces his American citizenship, moves to an island nation, denounces American citizenship, says he's not paying taxes on the tens of millions or hundreds of millions he made because it was convenient for him. So if it works that way, when you don't want to be and you can denounce, then it should work that way for us. When it's not working for us, we should be able to get rid of you too. If you can get rid of us, then we can get rid of you. And you can argue this, it's constitutionally correct. It has to be a two-way street. It's called checks and balances. So when you don't follow the Constitution, we should be able to get rid of you. That simple. Just like you can denounce your citizenship and get rid of us, we need to be able to get rid of you. So when you become an annoyance, you're gone. You break the laws, you're gone. No more U.S. citizenship. And all we need is a referendum to change the Constitution. And Mark Levin knows how to do that. And there's enough votes out there right now so we can change the Constitution. All you need is the majority of states, not all the states. So right now we can change the Constitution, and they are stripped of their citizenship and kicked out of the country and have a restraining order, and if they go near a U.S. military base, they could issue a shoot to kill. So again, you want to play that, but we can do that right now. It's available, and Mark talked about amending the Constitution through the states, and we can strip them of their citizenship. So that's what they want, right? That's what they're acting like. So if you're an animal, why do we want you? We don't want you, right? Why wouldn't we denounce you? Why wouldn't we get rid of you? Truly, why should we be shackled with you? Why should we have this great burden placed upon us that we can't get off? Pacific Garden Mission, what does it say? Unshackled. Where is my unshackling? Where do you start? You get rid of the garbage. That starts to unshackle me. So, is Pacific Gardens holding up to its mission of unshackling? So, let's get a constitutional committee together from the states. They don't need Congress. They do not need the U.S. Congress. It's the states, the governors. And if all the states come together, they can override Congress. And they can kick you out. They can strip you of your citizenship. and you can amend the Constitution to get rid of the garbage. Why should you stay here and terrorize us all? Truly. So, I don't get it. Your pieces of garbage started it. I keep on coming in peace, and you keep these pieces of garbage keep on terrorizing me. Every bathroom I go in, they piss all over, shit all over. It's disgusting as shit. And I gotta bathe in their filth. Why do I have to bathe in their filth? Truly. Why should I bathe in their filth? Perpetually, I don't do it to them, but they do it to me. This black guy was over here. He talked about his not working, being a bum and everything, and he talked about how he milked the system. He had a foot injury. He went to Northwestern in the evening, the emergency room. They took care of him, took care of the foot, got the cast, got everything. All the doctors. I said, how much? And no, it's free. I'm a bum. And he did. I told him to get away from me. I never want to see him again. And I never saw him again. He never went to the AMC 21, never outside again, never saw him again. But he told me how he was scamming the system. And how he was getting... And then my friend Travis, who worked at Children's, talked about the emergency room filling up and all these people looking for the freebies. So I can understand when accidents happen in a way, but you're not supposed to be an intentional freeloader. So... finish this video.